piercing scream of Xiao Hua tore through the night sky. The noodle shop owner, along with everyone else, rushed outside to find Xiao Hua. Behind the dark corridor, they discovered Xiao Hua was barely alive, the pile of intestines beneath her. The scene was so horrific that no one could bear to look. This was the beginning of a gruesome crime story involving a ruthless killer in the Ganzhou district of Gansu Province, China. Today, we are introducing one of the most horrific cases of disembowelment in China. Please make sure you are mentally prepared to hear about this, as the case contains many gruesome details that are beyond imagination. One evening in September 2004, in Pingchun Village, Ganzhou District, Mrs. Ming, the noodle shop owner, had just served her last customer and started cleaning up to close for the night. Besides her, she had hired a 17-year-old girl named Xiao Hua to help with the shop. Xiao Hua was a poor girl from a rural area. Mrs. Ming hired her out of compassion for her difficult situation. Xiao Hua's father suffered from a chronic illness, unable to do heavy work, relying only on her mother's farming. With a large family and dire conditions, Xiao Hua had quit school to help her family. To afford her father's treatment and support her younger siblings' education, Xiao Hua decided to work. As usual, after the customers left, Xiao Hua stayed behind to clean up before preparing to head home. While cleaning, Xiao Hua suddenly felt the urge to use the restroom, so she hurried to the public toilet outside the shop. Restroom was only a few dozen meters away, just past a small alley. After a while, when Xiao Hua hadn't returned, Mrs. Ming started to wonder, where did she go this late at night? As she washed the dishes, Mrs. Ming suddenly heard a terrified scream. It was Xiao Hua's voice. She immediately ran to the restroom but couldn't find her. So she asked everyone to help her search. Finally, behind the dark corridor, they found Xiao Hua barely alive, intestines pulled out from her lower body. Xiao Hua was rushed to the hospital for emergency treatment. The hospital summoned specialists overnight to save the girl. Dr. Liu, who had performed countless surgeries and seen many brutal injuries, was also shocked when he saw Xiao Hua. After regaining his composure, Dr. Liu examined Xiao Hua and found that she was gravely injured. Most of Xiao Hua's internal organs had been brutally pulled out through her vagina, which had multiple tears. Such severe injuries indicated the perpetrator's extreme cruelty, surpassing even that of an animal. Dr. Liu and his medical team, outraged, put all their efforts into saving Xiao Hua. After a grueling 9-hour surgery, they successfully saved her life. The incident was immediately reported to the police. Police were reminded of a similar case just a month earlier, where the victim was killed in nearly the same manner as Xiao Hua. This was the disembowelment case of Lin Zi. On the morning of August 12, 2004, during a rainy morning, an old man was herding his goats when he saw a girl lying by the roadside. As he approached, he was terrified by what he saw and ran away in fear, leaving the goats behind, shouting for help as he ran. The sight that scared him was a frail girl lying on the ground, facing upwards, with a blood-soaked cord wrapped around her neck. Her legs were spread apart. Her entire body was covered in blood. When the villagers gathered and took a closer look, they realized that what was wrapped around the girl's neck was her intestines, pulled out from her body through the vagina. Between her legs lay a pile of organs, horrifying scene beyond description. The victim was identified as Lin Zi, 19 years old, from Gucheng Village, Jianpeng Town, Ganzhou District, Jianghe City, Gansu Province. Due to financial difficulties, she had come to work in a household goods store in Ganzhou District. When the police and the forensic team arrived at the scene, they were also horrified by the brutality. Through forensic examination, they concluded that the perpetrator had a certain understanding of human anatomy. The method of disembowelment was skillful. After strangling Lin Zi, perpetrator inserted their hand into her vagina, pulled out the intestines from the abdomen, and wrapped them around her neck. The initial suspect pool included doctors or butchers from slaughterhouses. The motive was highly unusual. Lindsay had not been sexually assaulted or robbed. Her money and mobile phone were still with her. Due to the rain, no footprints or fingerprints were left at the scene, and there were no witnesses. Therefore, the police could only proceed with the investigation step by step. The case of the disembowelment killer quickly spread throughout the city. It was thought that the attention might cause the killer to hide for a while. However, the fact that the case of Lindsay occurred only a month before Xiao Hua's attack suggested that the killer was unafraid and possibly intended to taunt the police. When Xiao Hua regained consciousness, the police immediately went to the hospital to take her statement. Trembling, Xiao Hua recalled the terrifying moment. She said that when she went to the public restroom near the noodle shop, someone suddenly strangled her with a rope in the dark. Because it was too dark, she could only vaguely see the figure of a tall man. In her fear, she begged for mercy, but the man did not loosen his grip or say anything, instead tightening the rope. Shortly after, she lost consciousness but remained faintly aware. Suddenly, she felt an excruciating pain in her lower body, screamed out, and then passed out. When she woke up, she was in the hospital. Based on the disembowelment method, it was evident that the attacker of Xiao Hua was the same person who killed Lindsay. Police were baffled by the motive. Did the killer attack the girls to rape, rob, or out of a love dispute? None of these seemed to fit, as both victims were not violated, and neither appeared to be wealthy. The location where Lindsay was attacked was only 500 meters from her rented room, on a road where it had been raining, not an ideal place for a sexual assault. As for Xiao Hua, she was attacked at the noodle shop, not a suitable place for such an assault either. Regarding a love dispute, that also didn't fit, as Xiao Hua didn't have a boyfriend, and Lindsay had just moved to the area and was not known to have any romantic relationships. So, what exactly was the motive behind the killer's actions? After these two cases, a special task force was established in Kamzu. The police reviewed similar cases in the region and raised suspicions about two recent attacks on women. First incident involved a couple surnamed Cao. The wife was attacked in front of a barbecue shop while waiting for her husband. Fortunately, because she screamed and her husband arrived in time, nothing serious happened. This incident occurred on July 24th, before the other two cases. That night, police received a report near a barbecue shop in Liangmao Tower, Kamzu District. A woman surnamed Cao was suddenly attacked. When the police arrived at the scene, Miss Cao and her husband were standing by the roadside, still in shock. Miss Cao recounted, "Today, I was on a night shift. After work, I arranged to meet my husband at the barbecue shop for a late-night meal. I arrived at the shop and waited for about 10 minutes, but my husband still hadn't arrived, so I stepped outside to call him. While on the phone, I subconsciously walked towards the alley. Suddenly, a man grabbed my neck, pushed me to the ground, and asked if my surname was Ha. I was terrified and screamed. Just then, my husband was only a few hundred meters away. Hearing my screams, he quickly ran over, and the man fled. We chased after him for a while, but couldn't catch him. It was dark, so I couldn't see clearly, but I felt that the man was tall and had a strong smell of alcohol, as if he had drunk a lot. When the police arrived at the scene, they found that no one was injured, and there was no material loss, so they didn't take it seriously, only recording it briefly. It wasn't until after these two incidents occurred that the police sought out the couple for further information. However, the details provided by the couple were insufficient for the police to determine whether the man that night was the murderer they were seeking. Therefore, the investigation continued. The second report occurred just 3 days after Lindsay was killed. A woman surnamed Peng reported to the police that she had been beaten and nearly raped. She recounted, "That night, I was at home watching TV when suddenly someone knocked on the door. When I opened the door, there was a large man outside. He said, 'I'm looking for Zhang Wenming.' I politely replied, 'There's no one by that name here. You've got the wrong person.' Even so, the large man didn't believe me. He aggressively barged into the house to search. And indeed, there was no one by that name, but he still refused to leave. I was a little frightened, so I added, 'You'd better leave or I'll call the police.' The large man then yelled, "All who? Judging by the way you dress, you must be a prostitute, right? How much?" "What did you say? Who are you calling a prostitute? Don't talk nonsense," I responded, both angry and scared. The large man smirked and said arrogantly, "Stop pretending. How about this? Have fun with me once, and I'll give you 200 you." After that, the argument continued. Out of fear, I called out the name of the neighbor next door. The large man became furious, lunged at me, choked me, and repeatedly punched me in the face. After being beaten, I screamed for help and fought back, all my might. Realizing he couldn't control me, the man suddenly scratched my private area and then fled. The neighbor heard my screams and immediately rushed over, reporting to the police. By then, the man had already escaped. This case occurred 3 days after Lindsay's murder. Common sense would suggest that even the most audacious gut-ripper would not dare to commit another crime so soon. Moreover, the methods used in this case were different, and the woman surnamed Peng was only slightly injured, so the police didn't take it seriously. After taking statements and investigating for a while, they didn't find any resolution. However, this case might have been the key that ultimately helped the police catch the killer. Miss Peng had seen his appearance and heard his local accent. Police immediately based their sketch on Miss Peng's description. When they looked at the drawing, the task force exclaimed, "Isn't this Xiao Jianguo?" The police then showed the sketch to the cow couple and Miss Peng. Peng confirmed that it was indeed Xiao Jianguo. Although the cow couple didn't see his face clearly, they agreed that the figure was very similar. When the police mentioned the name of the person in the drawing, everyone was astonished. The police recalled that 3 months before Lindsay was killed, Xiao Jianguo had attacked a woman. He was the perpetrator in that case. A woman surnamed Ha, who worked at a hair salon and massage parlor, reported that she was assaulted and had her phone stolen by a customer. When the police arrived at the scene, they found that Miss Ha was only slightly injured. Strangely, after taking her phone, the customer returned to the shop to give it back. After interrogation, police discovered the customer was Xiao Jianguo, who had recently been released from a reformatory. Police summoned Xiao Jianguo for questioning. He calmly admitted to pushing Miss Ha, but insisted that it was just a minor dispute. The police reprimanded him and ordered Xiao Jianguo to compensate Miss Ha for her medical expenses. Task force noticed that Xiao Jianguo had twice attacked women and was therefore highly suspicious. Xiao Jianguo was the youngest child in a working-class family. Both his parents were construction workers, and he had 3 sisters and a brother. Being the youngest, Xiao Jianguo was spoiled by his parents and siblings from a young age. He had a hot temper, was lazy, and disliked working and studying. After a failed romance, he began drinking, causing trouble, and getting into fights. With his tall, muscular build, frequently hung out with bad friends and gradually became a thug. Xiao Jianguo participated in a theft case before he turned 18 and was sentenced to 6.5 years in prison in 1989. After being released, couldn't find a job and lived off his parents' pensions. The boring life led Xiao Jianguo to alcohol and drugs. He was forcibly sent to rehab twice, the last time being on May 17, 2001. After 3 stints in prison and a total of 10 years of incarceration, Xiao Jianguo became the primary suspect in the police investigation. After identifying Xiao Jianguo as a suspect, police focused their investigation and quickly obtained crucial information. 2 acquaintances of Xiao Jianguo revealed that on the night Xiao Hua was attacked, they saw Xiao Jianguo near the crime scene, looking panicked, with dirt and blood on his hand. They thought he was drunk and had fallen, so they didn't pay much attention. Another couple, who were also witnesses, reported seeing a man and a woman struggling with each other about 50 meters from the crime scene. Thought it was just a quarrel between a couple and didn't intervene. Police showed them a photo of Xiao Jianguo, and despite the darkness, they felt that the figure was very similar. The police also presented 20 photos of suspects for Xiao Hua to identify. He pointed out 2 people who had a similar build, one of whom was Xiao Jianguo. All the investigation results pointed to Xiao Jianguo, so the police decided to arrest him on September 20th. The police surrounded the Xiao family home with 20 plainclothes officers stationed at 5 nearby locations. However, Xiao Jianguo noticed the police ambush and, with his brother, locked the house's doors and stubbornly resisted. Police, not wanting to cause casualties or shoot Xiao Jianguo, decided to lure him out by requesting a urine test due to his history of drug use. However, Xiao Jianguo refused to open the door and declared that he would jump out the window if pushed too far. After 9 days of no progress, Xiao Jianguo's girlfriend approached the police, insisting that he was not the gut-ripper killer. She provided evidence that they were planning to get married and open a noodle shop. The police had some doubts because it was hard to believe that someone with a stable relationship would commit murder. Nonetheless, police decided to arrest Xiao Jianguo. Eventually, the task force negotiated for his girlfriend and mother to escort him to take the urine test. At 4 p.m. on the 29th, Xiao Jianguo agreed to go, but he was arrested immediately as he stepped out of the building. During the interrogation, Xiao Jianguo admitted to the attacks on Miss Cao and Miss Peng, but claimed it was just due to being drunk, not murder. While being questioned, Xiao Jianguo continuously denied involvement in the murders of Lin Zi and Xiao Hua, insisting, "I didn't commit those murders." However, under continued police pressure, he eventually confessed to all the crimes. Xiao Jianguo stated that he killed Lin Zi because she broke their appointment and attacked Xiao Hua due to mistaken identity for revenge. On January 6, 2005, Xiao Jianguo was brought to trial. Trial began at 9 a.m., but he only admitted to 3 cases of harassment against women and retracted his confession regarding the 2 murder cases. His lawyer argued that there was no direct evidence and that the case had many inconsistencies. However, the court still sentenced him to death on January 17. Xiao Jianguo appealed, and the Gansu Provincial High Court reviewed the case and found that the judgment was unclear and the evidence insufficient. The second trial, on August 18, 2005, was not public, and only the victims' families were allowed to attend. Xiao Jianguo continued to deny involvement in the 2 gut-ripping murders, claiming that his confessions were coerced by the police. In late December 2005, after the second trial, the Jiangni City Court again sentenced Xiao Jianguo to death. Xiao Jianguo appealed once more. During the trial, Xiao Jianguo made a strong argument. "I request that the court hold a public trial. Only in a public trial can I give a satisfactory explanation to the victims' families. Even if I die, I want to die with dignity, with everything clearly explained. I cannot just die like this. Therefore, I request that my case be publicly tried." The third trial was discussed and decided by the Judicial Committee of the Supreme People's Court. Final verdict was to reject the reconsideration of the sentence, but to uphold the death sentence for Xiao Jianguo, with a 2-year suspension of execution and lifelong deprivation of political rights. After 3 appeals, Xiao Jianguo, the murderer known for his brutal gut-ripping methods, was expected to face an unquestionable death sentence. But why was he not executed immediately? According to Chen Ming, a lawyer from Shanghai who was involved in the case, although Xiao Jianguo was a repeat offender and his methods were extremely brutal, causing public outrage, key evidence was not solely his confession. For any death penalty case, the facts must be clear, the evidence must be complete, the legal procedures must be followed, and careful consideration must be given before making a decision. In cases of serious crimes that do not warrant immediate execution, a death sentence cannot be carried out right away. After Xiao Jianguo was sentenced, many people expressed doubts, starting with his lawyer, who was present at the trial. The lawyer found it strange that the police did not have direct evidence in the 2 cases. In the first case, because it was raining, there might not have been any fingerprints, footprints, or bloodstains left behind. But in the second case, crime scene was relatively well preserved, and the perpetrator did not wear gloves. Theoretically, there should have been some evidence, but in the end, there was none. Only Xiao Jianguo's confession and witness testimony. Dr. Liu, the doctor who treated Xiao Hua, stated, "In my 30 years of medical practice, I have never encountered such a terrifying case." Based on clinical judgment, Xiao Hua's small intestine was directly pulled out from the lower body by someone. According to the case, when Xiao Hua screamed, people arrived at the scene within 5 to 10 minutes. Therefore, the perpetrator likely had some professional knowledge. Even a skilled doctor could not have found the small intestine from the lower body within 10 minutes. Given Xiao Hua's injuries, the perpetrator not only accurately located the weak points in the genital and abdominal areas, but also quickly found what they were looking for. Additionally, the possibility of weapon-related injuries was ruled out because a weapon could not have simultaneously caused damage to multiple areas. The severe injuries to Xiao Hua's small intestine and vaginal area were certainly caused by someone's hand pulling them out. It is hard to believe that someone without any medical knowledge or experience in slaughtering, like Xiao Jianguo, could have carried out such a skillful act. An ordinary person would not even know that it is possible to pull out the small intestine through the vagina. Xiao Jianguo's girlfriend also found it unimaginable that someone who was about to become a business owner and a groom would kill someone just because of a missed appointment and mistaken identity. Those who knew Xiao Jianguo doubted. If he were the culprit, why would he voluntarily turn himself in? With his criminal record, he surely knew that committing such a brutal murder would result in an unavoidable death sentence. So why didn't he commit suicide or go on a rampage? How much evidence did the police actually have? What was even stranger was that Xiao Jianguo's older brother suddenly committed suicide unexpectedly. This led to another theory. I believe you have already guessed this theory. It was Xiao Jianguo's older brother, Xiao Jianmin, who was actually the killer. Some say that Xiao Jianmin, who used drugs, committed suicide due to hallucinations. Others believe that the case against Xiao Jianguo caused conflicts within the family. The real reason for Xiao Jianmin's suicide remains unknown. Xiao Jianmin had been using drugs for many years. Everyone knows that drug use can cause hallucinations, leading someone to do unimaginable things. Unlike his younger brother, Xiao Jianmin was not as fortunate. He did not have a good girlfriend or a noodle shop about to open. Imagine in the dark putting two brothers together. Could a stranger tell who was who? However, this is just a theory put forward by outsiders, and the truth of the matter remains unknown. In the end, after all this, Xiao Jianguo was executed after the 2-year suspension of his death sentence. You have any thoughts or special insights on this case? Please share them in the comments section below the description. Goodbye, and see you in the next video. Be sure to subscribe to the channel to receive the latest notifications about real cases around the world.